All right, we're recording.
All
So
right. I just want to be clear that on our Sundays when it's our turn to go up there and pray, is that we just go up there and pray for the people and to the people of God. It's not time for plug-ins. It's not times for any commercials or anything like that. Just go up there and pray. And again, if it's anything that you want to say or you feel it's in your heart, you got to run it through pastor first, run it through his office and through him. And if he's approved it, then you say what you got to say. But other than that, don't take it upon yourself to go up there and do a plug-in or to voice your opinion or anything like that without running it through him first. Okay. All right. Reverend Henderson, if you got something to say about that, please do.
Yeah, it was just, to make sure that we are very careful, because sometimes we may have a passion or feeling about an issue that's going on, especially like during this past week, but we need to know how pastor's going to address it first. So let's just be careful not to, what would be the word, to give an editorial, so to speak, or give an opinion on an issue that has not been approached by him yet. So just to be careful in that way, so that when he gets up, he doesn't seem like he's contradicting what you just said.
Right. And don't try to mask it in your prayer either.
Right.
Don't try to mask it within your prayer.
People are smart. People are smart. People
absolutely.
are smart, and they listen real carefully.
Right. Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, absolutely. We ought to pray to the people of God.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we're speaking to a national audience now, man. It's not just the congregants.
That's important. Right. That's very
absolutely.
Important.
Yeah. Absolutely. One of the reasons why, the main reason why I felt it in my heart to call this meeting this evening, and thank you to our Zoom master, Elder Legionnaire, for putting this together. And again, I thank you and I appreciate you.
No problem.
Something that's on my heart. Lack of a better term, I'm hurt, man. I'm hurting. These things that's going on now. I watched the video of in my opinion, that cop murdering that black man, Gregory Floyd, right? That's his name, right? Yeah, Gregory Floyd. And I've been in law enforcement over 30 years.
George Floyd.
Yeah, George Floyd. Yeah, George Floyd. Thank you. I've been in law enforcement over 30 years, and I've seen some stuff in my time, man. I've seen some stuff, and watching that brought me to tears. For the first time in over 30 years of being in law enforcement, that brought me to tears. Watching that, and this is something that's been, building up. That's been going on. It's really nothing new. It's just that things are being recorded now, and we actually are seeing it, which is probably something we'll talk about later on, is that it's not an officer out there that don't know that they're being videoed now. And for him to really feel that comfortable knowing that he's being videoed and still do it, it really says a lot. And that's one of the things we may need to pray about. But one of the main things I want us to pray about is that our Black and Hispanic, our brothers and blue of color are in a very peculiar position.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter the uniform, don't stop them from being Black.
Mm-hmm.
So just as much as I'm hurting seeing that, I'm sure every Black officer out there who saw that video feels the same. Yet they still have a job to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still in a position where they got to deal with their humanity and they got to deal with their job at the same time. So I want I just want to go around and see how people feel about it, to get some of the frustration and the anger out. and also to consider, you know, praying with our Black brothers and sisters in law enforcement. You know, so I want to start with you, Willie.
I have to tell you, I have not watched the entire video. I saw like maybe the last maybe 2 minutes of it, and there was a different angle in terms of who came to pick him up. And my personal concern is I don't know if I can contain the rage. And it may not be that I will go out and do something physically, but my mental state, I don't know if I can contain that.
Right.
So, you know, because a lot of times hindsight is 20/20, and you start thinking about, well, if I was in that situation, you know, it's a psychological battle. But to be honest with you, that individual in particular, if I engaged him in a psychological battle, he would just say, oh, you one of them smart Negroes, and still do what he did anyway. So that right there is just, it hits me at the core, man.
Right.
Hits me at the
core. Got you. Tosh?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. For me, I've been spending some time looking at all the news clips and stuff, and what's things coming in on Messenger. Because of my position, I'm driving in the city. I've seen so much horrible stuff, and it's tough when you have to hold that stuff in. I could understand those people out there doing the things that they're doing, because so long we had Martin who demonstrated and do what they did in their time. And from then, for all the policies and stuff that needed to have been put in place, they didn't do. So what else should people do at this time? How much longer we have to take stuff? The length of time that they're taking to round up these poor guys to do what they have to do, look how much it will cost them. Because these people, the folks out there, there's a number of mixed groups, and all of them have different intentions. And for the length of time they'll drag their feet doing that, they're going to mess, many of our cities going to be messed up bad. Now, the next problem to that is how heavily we're going to be taxed, simply because of all that destruction. And with the virus still around, we have a whole new thing starting all over on us again.
Yeah.
Our president, we got to get him out of there.
Yeah. Elder Smith? Thank you, Tosh.
It's a dark day, especially for me coming from the South, in the Jim Crow era, the Civil Rights era, and even looking back at Dr. King some 50 years ago. And some of the same things are still happening. And then also looking at, you know, the COVID-19, I kind of thought about it this way, because I got two young grandsons out there, 22 and 25. And a lot of times they're in the South. And I think about, and I'm here in New York. I mean, I can't be everywhere they're at the same time, but I think about they're out there by themselves driving, and I think about, you know, if they get stopped, you know, what would happen to them. I mean, it's like, do you
Right.
get the COVID? Would you rather have the COVID-19, or are you concerned about your child or your grandkid might get stopped by the cops and never make it home? So it's a lot of things that's to contend with, but in it all, I think that we still have to move forward. We have to look at all the different policies and the people that's in those offices. Now, I just seen the president on television invoke this 1807 military law. Okay, so, and also what I'm seeing is that, you know, it's almost, we almost living in like now, like a dictator, a military confrontation, I mean zone, military mobilization.
Right.
So, and I never seen so much artillery in our world, you know, and it's all look like it's all towards us. I mean, when you look at the virus, out of the over 100-some thousand people, most of those was us. And then I look at the economic side of it, and the disparity is most of us. So genocide is having right in our eyes. But in it all, I still have to look to my God, because I know in and through it all, He's still in charge. So I'm still gonna put my trust in Him with all that what's going on, and continue to pray, and to pray for those out there, because there's a lot of good people out there. But how do you separate them out of there from the other ones? Because they were, you know, and I'm looking too, is like in most of the other demonstrations I was seeing going back, it was most of us out there. But now, you know, you can't tell who's out there in the demonstration.
Right.
So it's a lot going on in our world, but we still got to move forward. We still got to be strong, and we do the best we can. Because I'm almost even with myself, because I know, like, you know, when we get back, when the doors of the church are back up, because I leave out early in the morning, especially when we get in the fall. Hell, I'm like, I'm driving from home by myself, and then, not by, I mean, I know the Lord is with me, but you just don't know when you're gonna get stopped and how that stop's gonna be. Especially, if you hear a siren or something go off, it may not be for you, but I'm just saying. And then one more last thing, because one of my neighbors, I smelled a foul odor, so, and my neighbor, I know he lived by himself, he don't have no companion. And, I called 911 because I didn't know what it was. It was real. So some of the other neighbors smelled it, so we called in, and we thought that you don't want to say something had happened. So the officer came, they knocked on the door, because when you call, they're going to come to your door.
Right.
And it was 4 police officers came up there, and they was all white. So I forgot all about my neighbor, what was going on. Right away, what plugged in my mind is that, they're going to pull their guns out. But anyway, they went in there, they knocked the door down and went in there and did what they had to do. And come to find out my neighbor's okay. What had happened is a refrigerator door, the freezer part, he had a lot of fish up there, and the fish fell out and it had a foul smell to it. But anyway, that's kind of like where I'm at with that.
Okay. Thank you, Elder. Let's try our best, brothers, to keep it to a minimum and keep it to the subject matter that we're dealing with, because our time here is limited. I want to go to Raj, because we don't want him to have to go catch his plane, or
we don't want him running through the airport like OJ.
Or whatever kind of undercover stuff he's doing over there.
Raj, I don't see his face.
He's not showing his face. He's undercover.
He's undercover.
He's doing a James Bond action right now, man.
All right. Hey, Raj.
How you doing? I didn't want you to see me with my mask on anyway. So anyway, to the point of what we're discussing and how it makes me feel emotionally, and just as a Black man, I did not watch and you called it as correctly murder, because I didn't want to have that in my psyche.
Gotcha.
So when I saw the knee on it and I knew what was going to happen, I just turned. And what I feel now is that I'm looking for God in this.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a kid, I've already experienced the riots in Harlem.
Right.
I've already heard the gunshots and the patter of feet running. So I know that's not the answer. I know that violence is not the answer.
Right.
I've seen the community going from a thriving community to a desolate, barren place. So we lose the value of what we're doing in the civil civil unrest to show that, you need to do something about this when people are looting. And as one of the brothers said, there's other factions of people that are out there that's using this as the opportunity to do this. And because we are the lowest on the economics ladder, we are going to be the ones that suffered for all those stores being burnt down.
Yeah.
Because here in Minneapolis, where I'm sitting at right now, Minneapolis, St. Paul, if you don't have a car and you're not in the inner city and you can get to a store, you got to go 30 miles or so to get to a store. Because once you drive outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul, it's not a short time you go into Wisconsin. It's just flat farmland. So what I'm saying is this: we have to look at this and learn from the experience, because those of us that are old enough that have already experienced this, and we realize how long it takes to recover from the damage that we do to the economy. We collectively need to be speaking out on it. And I was talking to some younger guys on the block the other day before I left. We need to get on a rigorous, a campaign to learn people how to participate in the political system. We need to vote. And we need to vote for real people, not for people that's just going to give us a handout, somebody that's going to look the other way when we're doing something wrong. We need to vote for people that's going to be there to improve our neighborhood and our conditions.
Right. Thank you, Elder. I want to go to Reverend Henderson, because he looks like he's about to explode. He has so much he wants to say. So go ahead, Rev.
All right, I'm gonna open up.
You got 30 seconds.
Whatever. I'm gonna open by first saying, what I'm about to do right now is what you don't do when your ass get up there to pray on Sunday. All right. But what I'm about to do is I'm gonna say how I feel. First of all, I will never spend any of my time at this point discussing the response to the murder and take the focus off the murder. This is murder. This is terrorism. These are people who were already under attack from COVID-19 in huge numbers, economically depressed. I'm with Elder Tasha on this. Economically depressed, viruses, unemployed at huge numbers. All of this is going on. And then on top of this, they murder somebody in front of everybody and do it with their hands in their pockets, nonchalantly, with zero. You had bystanders saying, they don't have a pulse. Can I check his pulse for him, please? People, innocent bystanders could see he was dying in front of them. People were out loudly saying, he's dying, you're killing him. The officers who were standing with him did absolutely nothing. So it goes without saying, they all need to be in jail. That's number one. But besides that, I watched that night from Minneapolis, and I looked at the rooftop, and they had spray painted on the top of the roof, to me, the words that said everything to me. And all it said was, can you hear us now? And that's how I felt. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Yeah, do I get a kick out of watching people burn stores, even though the truth of the matter is, and they got videotape to prove it, that several of the people who were breaking the windows in advance were cops. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
They were police officers. They haven't been identified, and it's happened in cities across this country every time there's unrest to delegitimize the protest, number one. So I'm not apologizing for black people responding. It's like Rodney King getting the shit beat out of him, and he's resisting because he's actually putting his hands up like a human being. We're supposed to get the shit beat out of us and stay still. We're supposed to protest and have manners. What the fuck are we supposed to do to be heard? So rather than me criticize looting stores that none of us fucking own, and half of them people in Minneapolis needed that shit out of Target any goddamn way because they're starving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not justifying, see, it's not about justifying looting because, as my man Trevor Noah put it so succinctly, they've been looting black bodies for centuries. Mm-hmm. They've been looting black bodies for centuries. Mm-hmm. So when we put the emphasis on how we respond to being terrorized, and we have to act above and beyond, when white people with fucking guns and rifles and heavy artillery can storm the state building in Michigan and don't get shit. We get rubber bullets, we get mace, we get pepper spray, we get every fucking thing. They got motherfuckers I saw the video of the guy with his sidearm on him, and he wouldn't let them handcuff him, and they wouldn't even take his gun. Armed white man.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we see the lady in Central Park. Mm-hmm. Tells the whole world that white people, white America is not blind. They know exactly what the fuck they're doing, and they know that they can use the police as a weapon against us. So that woman stands there, and if y'all saw that video blew my mind because she was struggling with her dog, but it made it sound like to the 911 people that she was struggling with this black man. And she was sounding frantic on the phone. He's attacking me. And she's frantically doing all this just because really what she was doing was trying to put the damn collar on the dog. Mm-hmm. So she literally sicked the police on a black man. Mm-hmm. So we can't keep saying, I didn't know what they were going to do. This is Emmett Till all over again. Mm-hmm. So the only lucky thing was that this brother and she had already left the park when it happened. So what I'm saying is, I'm extremely angry. Yes, I put my trust in God. And the trust I have in God is that God has always, and for anybody who's talking about be angry and sin not, and the sin that you're talking about is the response, I don't want to hear that shit because the sin is the murder. The sin is the oppression. The sin is the racism. The sin is white supremacy. The sin is beating us down and taking out and treating us like less than humans. That's the fucking sin. We are humans. We are not animals, and we got the right to fight back when you're trying to kill us. So I know I can't say none of that shit on Sunday during prayer. So I get to say it here.
Amen. I mean,
brothers in here that want to say shit like this, say it here. Because
that's what this forum is about. Is
exactly.
To
get
it out.
Say this last thing, Corey. What you said about law enforcement, I can't wait to hear Yusef, because when you were talking, all I could think of was Yusef, and I said, I do feel my heart goes out to Yusef.
Right.
But
absolutely.
I don't know what the fuck I would do if I was a cop. Because how do you live in two worlds when you know that the people you work with hate you and don't even think you're human, and yet you gotta work with these dudes and eat pizza with these dudes and drink beer with them? It just fucking drives me crazy, man.
Well, you know, I'm
gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for you said. I don't know no other good cops, so I ain't trusting nobody else.
You being the reverend that you are, you always gotta get ahead of the game, don't you, man? I'm strategically leaving Yusuf for last.
I know you.
All right? Jesus Christ. Jason?
Jason on mute.
Jason,
yeah, I'm muted. I came back here because my wife got home. A couple things that have been prevalent to me with what's going on. Well, actually more than a couple. One, I made a post last week and I said, as a black man in America with 3 lowercase K's, I'm not okay.
I saw that.
I'm not okay. I mean, it's sometimes it's difficult to put it in words, but one thing that allowed me to experience how okay I'm not is when we were having a conversation with our children about this whole George Floyd incident, and my boys are watching and they want to know what's happening because they're at curious ages. And as it's explained what's going on and everything that happened, and they want to know why would the police do that? Let me give a little hindsight. A few years ago, when one of these other incidents happened, since they keep happening, Jason said to me, he said, "Daddy, when I grow up, I want to be a cop so that I can arrest the bad cops." And where we live, and Yusuf knows my neighborhood very well, where we live on Long Island is it's not, I mean, it's racist, but it's not one of the worst. But the cops have stopped me a lot. They've stopped me to the point where Jason, in the car with me one night where I left a function at his school, they stopped me as soon as I left the school. Like, what am I doing? And Jason said loudly, and I think he shamed the cop as he was walking up to the window. He said, "Daddy, why do the police keep stopping you?" And going back to Saturday, Miles says, as we explain this to them, Miles says, and pardon me because some emotions are gonna hit me with this. Miles says, after we explain the George Floyd incident, and how he was killed with the three of them kneeling on him, not just the one. We can't highlight the one, it's three of them kneeling on him. Miles says, as 6-year-old, he said, "I don't want to die."
Wow.
And I'm like, come on, man. So that's I'm not okay. And a part of this is I had a conversation with my wife yesterday, and this is me being a little bit more raw than what Reverend Henderson just said. And she was asking me, well, what are the next steps? Because one of my things is this: yes, we have to vote Donald Trump out, but if we're going to be honest, as much presidential leadership as he's not showing right now, Joe Biden damn sure ain't showing presidential leadership right now either. He can get on an IG live and speak on what's going on, but they won't put a microphone in his face, because every time they put a microphone in his face, he says something else stupid. So he's not showing that presidential leadership either. And my wife was asking, what are the next steps? I said, and this is going to sound harsh, but this is unfortunately what it may have to come to in terms of revolution in this country. The next cop who does this, we don't know whose family they're going to be messing with. Somebody is going to have to kill that cop and kill their entire family for it to stop. And it has to be a Nat Turner type situation where it's like, listen, if you keep doing this, this is what's going to happen. And you'll see it cease when someone knows, damn, they're not taking this anymore. Because rather than what happens in situations like this is now everybody wants to sell an "I Can't Breathe" T-shirt because people want to profit off of death.
Jason,
yes.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you finish, but I just gotta say, you just took the lead. Go ahead. My bad. I yield to you, my brother. Go ahead.
But people want to now profit off of other people's death. And I'm not talking about looting and rioting. I understand why people are doing that, and I don't connect them with people who are protesting and peaceful protesting. I don't connect them at all. But people are attempting to now sell these "I Can't Breathe" T-shirts, and I reached out to the person who made the first shirts after the Eric Garner thing, right when the NBA players started wearing them, and she said, "We're not selling the shirts. We just made some and we gave them to the NBA players. We're not trying to profit off this man's death." And it changed my perception on it. But we need leadership. We need leadership, and the leadership is not coming from either side of the table right now. Unfortunately, it's just not coming from either side of the table. And for me, I got sons, man. I haven't lived as long as you all have, and I'd like to live a lot longer. My sons, though, they really having a hard time grasping why does this keep happening in their young lives.
Gotcha. Elder Moore, thank you, Jason.
I'm a little torn. In my personal feeling, from where I stand as an individual, as a man, I'm angry, I'm upset, disappointed. As an educator and a leader and a advocate for young people, I have to use my platform to educate. Because right now we have to educate our young men, not only just in education and know who they are, but we also got to educate them on the judicial system. We got to have to teach them that it's important to get out and vote. It's important to apply for these jobs. We got to police and advocate for our own people. It's important for us to be the bridge to them, understanding the people before us, but also understanding and pushing them and giving them opportunities that may not have been afforded to us. Right now, this protest is losing the essence because they're focusing on the wrong things now. And now they're focusing on bringing in the curfew, because at any given time, we're going to suffer at the end. So I'm trying to educate our young sons now to know that, hey, you need to be a police officer. You need to be a judge. You need to be a lawyer. You need to understand what voting is. I was on a platform this morning and somebody said, well, 3% of the black vote went to Donald Trump. I said, but 43% of black people didn't even vote.
That's why.
So what are we talking about? So we're talking about change. Killer Mike said, if we're not talking about change, this is all irrelevant. He said we got to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. If we don't do those things, if we're not doing that, there's going to be another George Floyd 2 years from now. Next week, we have to educate our young sons and daughters that they have to, we got to be the chief of police. We got to be the commissioners of the police. We got to be in those positions. And Yusuf I could almost know Yusuf is standing 1 to 10 in a room full of white officers who don't care about this as much as he cares. So his voice is now minimized because he ain't got nobody to talk to. So I'm trying to encourage our young sons not to get into that point there. Oh, we need to go take an eye for eye. We're not going to win this war. This is not our system. This was a system we were born in. The history of looting started in Africa. If you want to talk about looting, let's talk about the history of looting. When you went into the ancient mission schools and you stole from our people and then brought it back here. Talk about that looting. That's the biggest robbery that ever had. So we as leaders, we gotta identify one voice in our black community. We don't have that.
Right.
And we have smidgets of people around. We don't have nobody that we can turn right to. Who do we go to? So right now, man, I'm angry, but I'm hearing that scripture say, be angry, but sin not.
Right. Got you. Morgan, thank you, H.
Hey, thanks. I kind of came in late because I just got home about 20 minutes ago. But I'm getting adjusted. I put a thing on last night to the Warrior Council about this whole situation and the casual manner in which he did it, as though it was an everyday thing. And this is, kneeling on a black man and slowly depriving his life. And I said it's almost photo negative of Kaepernick, the way he was taking a knee on this man's neck, and just how every day and commonplace it seemed to him. It's like it was no big thing. Like it seemed like he had done this before, and it didn't matter. And that was the most galling aspect of it to me. I mean, the violence is going to erupt, but the point is, we have these violent episodes, and then we return back to our homes, and everything gets forgotten. the point is, instead of, having one big burst of violence and energy, let's get a sustained thing and work towards change, as April's saying. That's where I'm at.
Got you. All right. We want to hear from Elder Ham.
Well, what I wanted to say is thank you, brothers, for constantly keeping me in your thoughts and prayers. It is a difficult time. I have received a lot of phone calls from other Black officers. I have seen my friends on the front line who've been hit in the head with bricks and their helmets cracked. Those are the images that you're not seeing. The images that you're seeing is people who are sitting down and putting up their fists and going along with the protesters. But I have to say, we have to educate our young people on the history of protesting, the civil rights movement. Because in 1968, when Dr. King was killed, seven days later, the Civil Rights Act was passed. The history of protesting, we have to protest in a nonviolent manner, but yet angrily. We have to understand, as Horace was saying, we have to educate our youth. Our youth are angry, and angriness and anger allows the enemy to come involved. And who's the enemy? If I tell you this, I'm telling you this because I love you. Outside groups are paying our young Black men $200, up to $200 to break windows and cause mayhem. That's the economic status that they're in. I've seen the documentation, $200 to cause mayhem and panic. And who benefits from this? Not us. So guess what? The strategic placement of this destruction has changed. It's not only in our it's not in our areas no more in New York, it's downtown. Why? Why is it downtown? To get more impact, to say, listen, look at those Black people. And then you constantly hear, oh, it's outside agitators. It's outside agitators. It's not Black Lives Movement. It's not Black people. It's outside agitators. But if you know it's an outside agitator, and this is the greatest country in the world with information, where's the intel people to stop that? No, we're not doing that. We're letting it go because there's something that we need to say. We need to let the Black people take the burden for this. Uneducated, savage, things of self-destructive nature. I've argued this point, and I've shared it with Jermaine numerous times over the course of the weekend. I said, you know what? When the imagery comes up, it's the word savage when they describe Black people, but low life, thugs when they describe white people. And I argue this point. I said, if the savage is for Black people, then why is not savage for white people? They're doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're just advocating trouble. You're advocating violence. I didn't advocate anything. I'm merely pointing out a fact of what it is. And it hurts me to see my brothers, and when I say brothers, African-American police officers who I was the president of the Guardians, you know, being hit in the head with bricks. Mm-hmm. Being sent to the hospital with nose busted. The girl I work with in my office, her car was torched. Oh, she lost everything. She says, yo, Ham, I'm standing there fighting. I look around and the white cops are standing back. I said, what are you doing? They're afraid. They're afraid. And what happens when you're afraid? You get images of people pulling out firearms, ready to shoot.
Yeah.
So we got to be mindful of these things. So yes, Horace is right. Now is a time for us to put a program together to educate our people, to take back our communities. Listen, we got to start right now and say, listen, you know what? You're going to be the state senator in this neighborhood. You're going to be the council person. And this is the path that you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Amen.
Because without the roadmap, we're lost. Any place you ever go down south, you always had a map in the glove compartment.
Yeah.
GPS.
Yeah.
Because in case they said you got to make a detour, you pull out that map to see where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an opportunity, my brothers. This is the opportunity for conversation. So when this is over, we need to start strategizing. You know what? In 2 years, this person is going to be out of office. We haven't heard from the barons. Where's the barons at? Where's this person at? Where's this? You know what? Now's the time to replace you.
Amen.
With the power of the vote.
With the power of the vote and the strategic placement of our people. We can start with the community boards. We can start wherever we want, but we must start somewhere.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Yusuf. One thing I want to point out too, and all this too, we do need to strategize. We need to organize, and we definitely the most power is in the vote. Is absolutely in the vote. This is why the Jewish community, you don't see none of this stuff happening in the Jewish community, because who that rabbi say to vote for? They all form Voltron and they vote for that, and that's where their power is. But also, one of the things we also need, and this is going to be a little controversial, we need white people. We do. Not all white people are prejudiced, but they all benefit from the system that's been in place. So those white people that you're friends with, I have friends that are white, they need to go behind that wall, because we run into that wall. Because when we speak, they just think, oh, it's an angry, he's talking because he's angry. So they already write us off. We already hit that wall. They hear us, but they're not listening to us. But what a white person has is that privilege to talk to them. So all of those white people that are friends with you, that'll sit down and break bread with you, you need to have this conversation with them also. Because they do have the privilege of going behind that wall. And what white people will listen to is other white people, for sure. So just don't dismiss that aspect of it, because it's a key that we can use. Mm-hmm. You know, and again, I just think that those white people that you know are just regular white people that you know that we are friends with, they need to have that conversation with other white people. Whether it works or not,
I agree with you. I just don't have no damn white friends.
Can I say something? Hold on.
Right.
That's not good.
In the 70s, the East New York area, and well, almost all of New York was in a mess when I came to this country. When I first came to St. Paul, that's when Reverend Youngblood was teaching about the Nehemiah, the book of Nehemiah.
Mm-hmm.
And we prayed and worked with that, and the IAF people came in and trained us, taught us how to sit with the politicians and them to get things done. Now we have to scout out someone like the IAF who could come in and train and teach how to go about handling times like this.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
There are folks out there who could do this.
Before you go on, and before everybody gets upset, the news is going to come down about the verdict. It may in Minnesota, I've done the research, so you're well aware, so you're informed. In Minnesota, that tactic of using the knee on the throat is an approved tactic of the police department.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been used. The officer has used it over 44 times.
Right.
Wow.
So it's an approved tactic. It's a taught tactic.
Wow.
It's a taught tactic in the Minnesota Police Department.
Wow.
So you're educated.
That may get him off to a degree. It may. Let's hope that it don't. Let's hope that it don't. And thank you for that information, because if it does, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's going to get worse.
Corey,
Tonight,
also the autopsy report came out.
The
The autopsy report came out, and The cause of death was asphyxia from his crushed larynx. So he killed him. That was the cause of death, that knee.
Did anybody, who's seen Queen and Slim?
Yeah.
I saw it.
Okay, so in the end, this brother got shot unarmed carrying his dead woman, right? One of the things we got to recognize about this white fear is they don't feel safe unless you are submissive. Period. End of story.
How much more submissive could George have been? He was laid flat on his face.
Right.
Handcuffed behind
They
his
already had him handcuffed.
Listen, brothers, this is what I'm saying. These same people watch sporting events and they watch us in sporting events do miraculous things with 4 or 5 people holding on to us. It is a fear. You're not listening to me, brother. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm going psychological here. I'm not saying it's our fault. They got a fucking problem. We are who we are. We're not going to change for nobody. But what I'm saying to you is a lot of this shit happens because they know they are fearful. And that's why on the book, they got certain things that play in their favor.
I hear you.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
And hold on. Yeah, I'm going to get you, Reverend Henderson. And him holding his hand in his pocket, it was not him being it's strategic.
Yeah, he was balancing himself.
No. He was adding more pressure. He was holding his hip in so his leg could be straighter.
Right.
So his legs could be straighter, so he can apply more pressure to that man's neck. Go ahead, Reverend Henderson.
I was only going to address what Willie said in this way by saying I can buy into the idea of them being afraid, but I think the reason they're afraid is more so because they know what the hell they've done to us for so fucking long.
Yeah.
At some point, you can only take it so much.
Right.
That's all I do. That's all
Crazy, man.
Please tell me why 4 people with 2 guns, at least 2 guns each, and you were handcuffed. Why would you be afraid of that person?
You never understand that, man.
Yeah, listen, it can happen.
Check this out. The end result is no matter what, they'll shoot you and kill you, or they'll step on you and kill you. The end result is always the same.
I heard somebody say today, they said, they always talk about it's the training. He said, it's not the training, because the training works for white people.
Yep, it sure does.
Well, brothers, I want to say this, and I'm telling you this from experience. From my experience, the only thing that I've seen white officers be more angry and more violent toward than black males is other white people. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it's, in their mind, it's shameful that your ass is in here with them.
They don't kill them, though.
No, they don't kill them, but they'll whip their ass to teach them a lesson that your ass, this is for them. This is for them. This jail is built for them. Yeah. You ain't supposed to be in here. You making us look fucking bad by you being here with them. If you look at the videos on the news, who do you see cops beating up during this riot?
Us.
No. White people. You see them pushing them down, because they're sending a message to them. White people are all about messages.
Yep.
That girl in Central Park, an African American, they send messages.
Yep.
Trump, remember when he was running for president? Oh, take him outside. Don't be so nice to them.
Of course.
They send messages. They have key words.
I agree.
Yep. The Corey.
That they use. I'm gonna get you. That they use to each other. Key words. You know, she knew how to what button to press for 911 to get them to respond a different way.
No question.
Now, had she said that it's just I'm being harassed, I'm being threatened by somebody, then it just would have been okay. Well, but she said an African American. She knew what to say.
Remember, Corey, she told him what she was going to say.
Yep.
Remember,
Yeah.
she said, I'm going to tell them that an African American man.
Yep.
Right. That was the threat.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
going to tell them.
Yeah. And just like them white officers I've worked with that was pissed at white males for being in there. You know what they do? You never hear them call black inmates stupid. Mm-hmm. They call a white inmate stupid in a minute.
Yep. Because he don't belong in there with them.
Yeah, say you stupid because your ass is in here with them.
Yep. Because they got privilege they ain't using.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the trash.
Absolutely. and you making us look bad. And they will actually put their foot in their ass. And it's more like, and it's not like I'm whipping your ass. It's more like daddy whipping his son ass because his son did something wrong.
Right. And the good part is you get to wake up the next day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now I whipped your ass, and now I'm gonna bring you back. It's redemption behind whipping my ass. Behind whipping your ass. I think Jason wanted to say something. Okay.
I want to say.
That was you, Joe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They appointed the AG to take over the case. So I was listening to him, even though he's kind of.
He's black.
Yeah, I listen.
And yeah, I know the AG, and then he says that, well, just because they turned the case over to me, I just want to let y'all know right now, when they get into the court, whether it's third degree, second degree, or first degree, it's going to be very difficult. So don't think just because I'm being appointed to be the AG that it's just going to be a walk in there and then walk back out and that's it. He says, I don't think it's going to be that. It's going to be really tough to do
because he knows what Yusuf just said.
Yes, absolutely.
He knows that already. Yes. So, but he's not going to put that out there before the court. But he knows it already. Yeah,
he into it. And
exactly.
one other thing I just want to say is that also just remember that, because, and I kind of was thinking about that stand your ground law. They got all these laws that, because all those cases with stand your ground, ain't nobody went to jail yet.
And once again, Jason did want to talk, but.
Yeah, Jason, quickly.
Jason. Oh, I didn't, okay.
Go ahead, Jay.
What I was, Joe, you done? Oh, what I was gonna say is twofold. One, what Ham said was correct about laying the groundwork for certain things, but you also have to realize the last murder that was well known in Minneapolis was that African cop who shot that white lady, the Australian lady, and that man got 12 and a half years. And see, this is the part that they don't mention. And they gave her family $20 million. 12 and a half years, yeah. And they gave her family $20 million in civil court. So, listen, you talk about sending messages, go back again. Reverend Henderson, maybe I did overtake you. Go back again to what I said. You have to see the message that's going to be sent. If that man gets off, now his wife has already, she said she divorced him and don't want anything. I find that fishy. But if he gets off, they just going to have to kill him. And let's send a message that way. And you have to take blood into your hands and get that guy. And you can do it anonymously.
Well, Jason, Eric Garner was the first message that they sent. So when them cops got off,
I know.
And that's the thing. That's why that cop was so nonchalant about what he was doing, because he's white, he's privileged, and it's a black man that he's doing it to. Right. So
I know
it is about messages.
What I'm talking about is sending a message also.
Zoom. All right.
Yep.
And don't forget about all those cops with Eric Gardner. Ain't none of them in jail, right?
Yeah, they got fired, and it took them 5 years to do that.
But they're not in jail.
No, they're not. They're not. They got off. They got off. Brothers, I gotta wrap this up. Okay. Thank you for being here. I just wanted everybody to get out how they was feeling. It was great. I wish it was more brothers here. I just want you to keep our you know, in particular, you know, because we elders, we pray for the whole world. Yeah. You know, we're, you know, white people are God's children also. Right. He created them also. Mm-hmm. But I want this to be intentional about our brothers, our black brothers and sisters in law enforcement, because right now they're pretty much between a rock and a hard place. Pastor just joined us. We're closing out. We're closing out. The fact that Will, unless you want to make Pastor the host, or you have to use this room for your next
for because we got our Monday. That's at 8:30. So I mean, it's 8:15 right now. I don't know if the pastor wants to say a few words. We can let him close us out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pastor, we called this meeting just to get some feedback and everybody just to speak up, you know, out of how they feel about what's going on with this whole thing in Minneapolis and the protesting and the riots and things like that. And our second thing was to keep our black brothers and sisters and law enforcement in our prayers, because, you know, they're in an awkward position. You know, they're between a rock and a hard place, whereas they're black, and I'm sure, you know, seeing what happened affects them, but also they also have they also took an oath to uphold the law and to do their job. So it's a very particular position to be in. So that's what this conversation was about.
Okay, well, great. Thanks everybody for taking the initiative, and thank you, Chairman Farmville, for taking the initiative to come together to process and to pray and to reflect. I just got off of the congregation, and our numbers are going up every day relative to these check-ins, and people have told me that it has been a sense of normalizing their world and their schedules. So I always try to stay as faithful to that as possible. And I can tell you that there's a lot of anxiety, there's uncertainty, there's pain. Everybody all right?
Yeah, Reverend Henderson went somewhere there. Like he went in the jungle or something.
It wouldn't be the first time.
All right, come back, bro, come back. And so, you know, I think what the elders are doing on this line, the congregation was doing on the other line. And so I also assigned the congregation devotionally to read together the book of Acts. On the social media page, you will find a schedule. There's 27 or so, maybe 28, I look at it, chapters in the book of Acts. So it's broken up so we can read it. Yeah, she just posted it so that we can read it almost a chapter or so a day. And I just want everybody to kind of read that together. We don't have to teach on it, but just to read it devotionally. And today I've been in several conversations. I'm on my phone. Several conversations with leaders from around the country, and looking at where we're going and what's next. And so certainly solicit your prayers. And they're asking me for directions and, you know, and for, you know, my input relative to strategic planning. So certainly asking that you pray for me, that God would kind of keep his hand on me and on us as we kind of deliberate, you know, and come up with a strategic plan. And then two, I hear what you're saying, Elder Fonville, relative to law enforcement officers. You know, they say this is about the right says, and the president says this is about one bad apple. Now I'm not a farmer, but I do know something about bad apples. When you put a bad apple in a barrel and you don't take it out and deal with it, it infects the entire barrel. Yeah. And what this is all about is that this is a system that does not prosecute equally and fairly those who break the law behind the blue wall. So This is all about, fairness. This is all about fair treatment. And this is all about systemic racism. And so, I think as I'm working with the white liberals, they're asking, they're giving us empathy and sympathy. And I don't want your empathy or your sympathy. I want a fair chance. I want my sons and daughters to have a fair chance. So, yes, I agree that our law enforcement officers are in the middle, especially those of color. Some, there are those who are more blue than they are black. Let's be honest about that. But there are so many that have a heart for our people who are doing their job, who are doing the right thing. And I saw a couple of pictures online today where there were a couple of officers who are separated from the rest of their group, and they were protected by black men, surrounded by black men, saying, not this one, then you had a couple of officers doing the wrong thing. So, I mean, it's on both sides right now. I hate to use that language because that's what Trump says, on both sides. But the way it's depicted by the media, it's total anarchy. There are people right now who are being agent provocateurs. And so our nation is just right now in crisis. It's nighttime in America. And that's a perfect opportunity for the church to stand up and for us to pray that God shine the light of God's countenance upon America. And so the church has left the walls by way of the pandemic. And so now that we're out of the walls, let's make a difference in the streets. Let me just say that I'm really tossed, and you guys can help me discern this. I really don't like when people say that preachers are not doing anything when I'm as tired as I am, working as hard as I've been working. And just because they don't see me per se leading a protest march doesn't mean that I'm not protesting. I'm thinking about leading a couple going out into the streets, but all my colleagues told me they're not going. They said, I got a pre-existing condition. I didn't stay in this house for 10 weeks to go out and get COVID-19 now. Ain't nobody wearing no damn mask. I'm there and all of that. So just praying about what I should be doing right now. So, and how to lead and feed the flock of God. So certainly ask for your prayers around that. I want to ask you also, in closing, as elders, I asked you this before, but I'm going to ask you one more time, and then I'll come back and ask you in a very concrete way. I'm asking everybody this month to adjust your giving by $10, $15, $20, whatever you can do, to absorb any summertime losses, to absorb any losses of people losing their jobs who may have a heart to give but not resources to. I'm asking all the leaders to make up that difference. So I'm going to give an additional $50 every time I give. But whatever you can do, I'm asking you to increase it to make up the difference. With that being said, we're doing well as a church. I think we're doing exceptionally well. Our overall online presence in terms of views last week was 13,000, almost 14,000 people have viewed our ministry. If you include the National Action Network coverage, well, we're somewhere there at 40,000 views in 1 week. So people are tuning in, they're watching us. We have a national audience right now. God has given us a microphone, so I'll ask us to do the best we can to put the best foot forward and to just do ministry in excellence. And that's it. That's all I needed to say tonight. Thank you for your support and your prayers.
Amen.
That's it.
Thank you, Pastor. I want to get a little personal for a minute. Yusuf, you definitely on my heart, man. As I'm sure you are, everybody in this room, it's personal when it comes to you, brother. Yeah. And we just pray that you protect yourself, that God protects you, as you out there laboring in that vineyard, man. And just, we here for you, man. I know it's a tough spot to be in. And if you ever need anybody to talk to, we all here for you, man. My brother, man. We love and appreciate you, man. Reverend Henderson, you pray us out.
Yes, sir. Sovereign God, Lord, we are so grateful for this time that you have called us to gather together just to touch base with one another, to let each other know that we understand that even as men of God and leaders in the ministry that we hurt too, that that we need to vent and we need to find positive ways to express our pain and our hurt and our anger. So we thank you for this time that was called for us to be able to just speak freely. We thank you, Lord, for our pastor who has truly led during this time, not just during the pandemic, but Lord, Lord, as I just heard his concern or his thought about going out there, Lord, I just ask, Lord, that you would just remind him of what Reverend Sharpton said yesterday, that he's doing great work in the lane that he's already in. And so I just pray that you would just continue to encourage and let Pastor know that the work is being done. You're changing people's minds about who Jesus is, who your son is, Lord. And that is a huge, that is what our people really need to hear. We need to know who we really are in alignment with. And so we just thank you for our pastors preaching, teaching, and leading. We thank you for this board, Lord, and pray that you continue to lift every member of this board and all the families and all those who are connected to us, our congregation, Lord. Lord, the people of God that you have called us all to minister to. And so we just pray that you continue, Lord, to encourage us. Let us not lose hope and despair, and let us find ways to even get beyond our feelings and get to the point where we can strategize to continue to change this world. We thank you for all that you've done through us and what you continue to do through us, Lord. We just praise you. We lift up our people, Lord. And we just pray, Lord, that you would just take care of them, watch over them, and protect them, because tonight could be a very difficult night across this country. All the praise, the glory, and honor, Lord. And we put all things in your hands, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, brothers.
All right.
Brothers, Pastor, keep doing
right now. I'm gonna do the best I can, brother. Appreciate your prayers and your support. Thank you.
No question.
You're welcome, Pastor.
No question.